Alexandria here. I'm here to talk to you about Celtic Druidism, and I know a lot of you pagans or so-called pagans out there may be offended, but being a true Celt or a true Druid is a lifestyle. It's not a wannabe kind of a situation where you're picking up a spell book and you're just wanting to belong to a certain kind of a group. True Celtics were people or tribes of people that originated in Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. And my family, of course, originates partially in Scotland, so we are part of the true Celtic faith. Druids or Druidism is a faith that goes back well over 2,000 years ago. It is not a documented belief system. The first documentation that took place in regards to Druids was 55 BC when Julius Caesar was on one of his missions in the British Isles trying to conquer so-called barbaric people. He quickly learned that us Celts were not barbarians, and he slowly, through his journals in regards to the Celtic people, he soon realized and actually embraced the Druid philosophy in regards to we were poets, we were lawyers, we were philosophers, and we really had a hierarchy of religious beliefs. I mean, as an example, our priests would really study for 20 years. You would have to study for 20 years prior to becoming a priest. And the good thing about being a Druid is that women in that time period, which was unheard of in Julius Caesar's time, women had a higher or equal status with men. We could own property, we could divorce our husbands if we felt it was necessary. So we had the same status as men, and in those ancient times that was kind of unheard of. Julius Caesar thought enough of us Druids to document our practices. I mean, we were poets, we were philosophers, we embraced nature. Really being a Druid and part of the true Celtic faith is embracing nature. We knew the importance of the oak tree, mistletoe, and we had ritualistic practices that embraced nature and all the animals that were encompassed in nature. So it is not a wannabe kind of a faith. It is a lifestyle. And when I mean a lifestyle, it's something that you're practicing from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. And it's not simply opening a spell book and, anybody can get a spell book and think that they can be Harry Potter or whatever and just kind of do these kind of spells. I mean, something that's very important to me is that I have this piece of oak, and as we know, oak was very important to the Celtics and the Druid faith as being spiritually important. And this piece of oak is 2,500 years old, and it's taken from an Irish bog, and it's been treated and it's been ritualistically been a ceremony practice on it that it's got a magnetic or magic properties, and I carry this with me, and it just helps me embrace or encompass my faith in regards to being a Celtic. And being a Druid, I mean, there's not much that's been documented on the Druids. And I mean, Julius Caesar and the rest of the Roman legions that came to the British Isles really got a shock of a lifetime when they thought that we were barbarians and we were a savage race, when in fact we were lawyers, we were poets, we were people of high status. And I mean, the Roman legions, when they did come to conquer the British Isles, did embrace us, and we were actually used by the Roman legions to encompass philosophy and what have you. And I mean, when the Romans did come to the British Isles, they did in a way to kind of embrace pagans is maybe not the proper word. I mean, we had Bride or Bridget, who is a goddess, one of our goddess. She's a goddess of poetry, she's a goddess of fire. They actually made her a saint. So if you go to Ireland, Saint Bride she's become a patron saint, just as Constantine, in regards to embrace all the pagans, because there was more pagans than Christians. He did in fact take some of the pagan gods. So for all you people that think you are pagans or think it's fun to belong into a pagan group, I think you really have to educate yourself that it's a lifestyle. It's just not a fun social group that you want to be involved in. I mean, for me, our traditions go back thousands and thousands of years, and I mean, it's not something that we feel necessary to put into the public eye, because I mean, a lot of our ceremonies and rituals are very secretive. And I mean, we do have a specific site in Scotland that a lot of our ritualistic practices have been practiced. Rob Roy McGregor is actually buried there. He's one of the Scottish bandits. He's buried there. But further on that site, there's an old pagan site that's over 1,500 years ago. So we use that site in a lot of our pagan practices that, you know, obviously I can't go into detail. And I mean, human sacrifices or ritualistic animal sacrifices were used. So just a word to the wise, for people that are wanting to embrace different faiths, different religions, for a sense of belonging, I think you got to really do a lot of research and realize that this is something that is a lifestyle, and it's just not a fad or a place to meet like-minded people. I mean, for me, it's part of my everyday life. It's the same as breathing air every day. Everything that I do ritualistic practices that is part of my faith, and I mean, a lot of it is hereditary and it's passed down through the generations. So think twice before you kind of delve into, and be careful what you ask, because you never know what could come of it.